RNZ News at 10 with a roundup of news from throughout the country and around the world. I'm Todd Zahner. In the headlines, relief efforts intensify in response to the volcanic eruption and tsunami in Tonga. The government promises a pause on its rolling MIQ lottery will not be permanent, and supermarkets are in crisis planning made for an Omicron outbreak. It appears almost every structure on the Tongan island of Urasoe has been wiped out. It's the second island in the kingdom that's been essentially totally destroyed after Saturday's volcanic eruption. Hamish Cardwell has more.
The island is home to the Royal Sunset Island Resort, and satellite images by a UN agency posted on its Facebook page show most of the dozens of homes and structures on the island have gone. The New Zealand Defence Force has described the damage to the island as catastrophic in its surveillance photo. The social media post says there were no casualties and all residents have now been evacuated to the mainland. It says the resort was fully submerged by the tsunami and does not expect much of it to be left. About 100 people live on Urasoe. Earlier today it was confirmed that the entire village on Mango Island has been wiped out.
The official death toll of volcanic eruption and subsequent tsunami in Tonga remains at 3. Our Foreign Affairs Minister Nanaia Mahuta says 2 Navy vessels have been sent and aerial images have been given to Tongan officials.
Of the images that have been sent to Tonga, and they are aerial images, they are there to help an on-ground assessment, and we are aware that there is significant damage to the outer islands. 2 of those islands, Mango and Ponoi 4, will undergo an evacuation of the numbers that are there. Our Navy vessels may well be in a position to help with that effort.
The New Zealand government says those on board the Navy vessels will help assess the damage, including possible changes to the seabed. They'll also be bringing water and medical supplies with them. Nanaia Mahuta says the government's considering repatriation flights for those being evacuated who may have found out in New Zealand. Internal phone lines are expected to be re-established soon in Tonga. Tonga Cable Limited Chair Sam Whanua, who's in New Zealand, told RNZ Pacific that Tongans will be able to make domestic calls. He says the only phone calls being made out of Tonga now have been via satellite phones.
We've been told that I think our service providers will probably be getting their link up sometimes today or tomorrow.
It's unclear when the next MIQ room release will be after the government hit pause on the rolling lottery. Last night, with just 2 days to go until the next room release, the head of MIQ announced it would be postponed. It cited a 10-fold increase in positive COVID-19 cases at the border that was putting mounting pressure on MIQ facilities. COVID-19 Response Minister Chris Hipkins says this is a temporary measure and details of the next room release will be shared once they're known.
It's a delay for a period of time while we figure out exactly what's going to happen at the border. As soon as we're able to give people more certainty around when the next room release will be, we'll certainly do that.
Cabinet's due to consider options over the date, sequence and conditions for the border reopening within the next 2 weeks. A New Zealander stuck overseas with an expiring visa says the government has turned its back on suffering New Zealanders. Bradley Harries has been in Canada since 2020 and missed out 6 times in the MIQ lottery before the pause. They say no visa means no income and no health care, and the government's decision doesn't make sense.
COVID isn't going anywhere. They're just prolonging the inevitable, which is it will get in and it will become part of everyday life. It's done that everywhere else in the world, and the rest of the world has moved on. It's barbaric and it messes with your mental health. Are they even taking into consideration the effects on the mental health of the people that are in these predicaments?
The government says the pause won't be permanent, with Cabinet set to reconsider border reopening plans in the next 2 weeks. It's believed hundreds of people may need to isolate after 2 Auckland nightclubs were visited by a COVID case at the weekend. Anyone at Long Room in the suburb of Ponsonby and Family Bar on Karangahape Road on Saturday night are deemed close contacts and must isolate immediately. Long Room was visited between 7 and 9 p.m. and Family Bar from 9:30 until midnight. People there at the time should call Healthline immediately. The bars are popular and it's likely hundreds of people visited over the 5 hours of potential exposure. There are 24 community cases of COVID-19 today and 56 at the border. It's 10:05.